Adam Laxalt. You all know Adam Laxalt. He's been on the program before. He is a veteran. He is also former AG, and he is running for Senate in Nevada. He was endorsed. I just saw the video a couple of minutes ago. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has endorsed him as he goes up to the primary and then hopefully onwards to the Senate. He joins us now. Sir, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Congratulations as well on the endorsement. Now, as I understand it, you and Governor DeSantis, you kind of, you do remind me of him in a way. I mean, you're in Nevada, he's in Florida. You guys have a history. You guys know each other. And I haven't really seen him actually get out and endorse anyone else. This is rare. Tell me about this.
Yeah, well, I've known him for 20 years. And so I think it's the only race outside of Florida he's getting involved in. And we were actually two-man bunkmates going into naval officer training. And so, look, he understands what we're up against. Obviously, no one has been fighting harder at the state level than he has been. Even yesterday, what he did with the Tampa Bay Rays was consequential and important. And he knows that this is the type of senator I'm going to be in the U.S. Senate. We need this next generation. We're both 43 years old. I used to say we had the same amount of kids, but now I've added a fourth. We have a newborn baby at home.
Congratulations.
But, this is why we're doing this. We want to preserve this great country. Anybody watching your show, I don't need to convince that we are in big trouble. Yeah. And look, we're kind of on the march in the last few months. We're picking up some wins on the board, and Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and even Bill Maher. I mean, there's some good things happening out there, but we have a country to save, and all the work, the hard work, is yet to be done. But you're right. I mean, every vote matters in the U.S. Senate. We need people that understand. And I went on Hannity last Friday, and said, now is the time we need Republicans to be loud and aggressive, defending our Second Amendment. This is not the time to cower or to hide under the table. You came to my great state multiple times, and you came when Bloomberg was pushing his on a statewide initiative. Mm-hmm. And I was the face of the no campaign. And, the NRA back then was heavy and involved in trying to defeat that background check bill, private background check bill. And, we lost that thing by 6,000 votes statewide.
Crazy. Those are all Californians.
But it does show exactly what you're saying, which is we have a lot of great Second Amendment voters across this state. It should tell you something that my opponent, while she's, very aggressive on, running on, pro-choice and a bunch of these issues, she's been very quiet about taking our guns.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
She has not been very vocal this week because we are a Second Amendment state. People believe in this right, and people believe this is something that shall not be infringed.
When they're quiet, it means they're in lockstep. It means they support everything that's being said. We're talking with Adam Laxalt. He's running for Senate in Nevada, and a longtime friend. We've talked to him before. We've been out there with some of our affiliates out there in the great state of Nevada. And this is, I've talked before about particularly the Senate, how important the Senate is, because right now, with a lot of this legislation, I know they reconvene on the 6th. There are 3 bills, as I understand it, in particular, 2 actually, I think, that have the most chance to go into the floor for debate, looking at red flag laws and universal background checks, and who knows what's going to happen with the stuff from the House that's passed and will pass. That'll get kicked up to the Senate as well. It's so close. There could be, they just need 10 Republican senators, and there are a lot of soft on the second Republicans out there. A lot of people think that just because you have an R after your name that you fall in line with the rest of the base, and that's not necessarily the case. You've been a strong advocate, and of course not just for for life and against CRT and all those issues, but also for Second Amendment issues, which is how I've gotten to know you through that perspective. And tell me a little bit about how important the Senate is, because your race in particular, I think, is like one of 2 or 3, maybe the most important. We might lose that buffer in the Senate if we don't secure the seat in Nevada.
I think people have been lulled into complacency because Manchin has been with us on some really big votes. But I've been reminding people for months on months, if you think he's not going to come to deal with the Democrats on a handful of these big things in the coming months, or if you think he's going to hold for 2 more years, God forbid we don't take back the Senate, that's completely unrealistic, whether it's Build Back Better, whether it's a Second Amendment bill. I mean, you could see him crossing over and giving them the 51st vote. Like you said, we've got a lot of soft Republicans that want to cave on something like the Second Amendment. And so we need to gain a majority. And the map is really, really small. All I can tell your listeners is, are we going to win the House? Definitely. But the Senate, we have no races to flip. We have so few races to win. It's really Georgia and Nevada. These are the 2 races that are, really, really solid flip opportunities. And then there's 2 others that hopefully we can win if things are nice and red. But they're coming at me with everything they have. George Soros just did a $2 million attack ad, to close my primary season and meddle in our primary, going after me. Chuck Schumer's already spent $2 million before that. And so they understand the gravity of this race. I think our side understands as well. We're certainly hoping the cavalry starts coming here in June and July and on through the fall.
I hope so as well. Talking with Adam Laxalt out of Nevada, you made a really good point. I think it was on Twitter, where you were talking about the Department of Education. There's like $100 billion still yet to be spent from the funding that was allocated under that $2 trillion, basically it's $2 trillion, is 1.92 trillion, the American Rescue Package. It's amazing. We've had these discussions about grants for schools, for school securities. The president said he's not interested in hardening schools, in contradiction to the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Commission, the Sandy Hook Commission as well. $100 billion. What is happening with that money? Where is the oversight? I know that schools are allowed some discretion because they know their area better than Washington, D.C. does. But it amazes me that I see things, whether it's security systems or equipment or whatever it is, at a number of different schools around the country, different districts. Why is this money not being spent? Who's in charge of this and who can give account to it?
Well, let me first just say, a week ago Friday, I went on a big show and said that Democrats do not want to harden schools. They will not put guns in legitimate law.
Nope, I think we got him frozen.
That's not true. And where can you source that? And of course, you are referencing Biden. That is the Democrat standpoint. For whatever crazy reason, they will not support hardening schools. And I'll tell you, in my state, there are hundreds of millions of dollars this Democrat governor is going to be handing out across the state, trying to earn a re-election. And there are not school safety funds in there. He's got a big, giant slush fund, and we should harden our schools immediately. We need real law enforcement agents, of which there's plenty of retired that would love this job or off duty. And we also need to make sure, when you go into a school, you need to make sure that, God forbid, something happens. There's an alarm that can go off and people can actually lock individual classrooms with doors that cannot be breached. That shuts down 99% of the vulnerability if you have a classroom that's set up like that. But they continue to go to guns and the Second Amendment. They will not address the root issues. These are the hard issues. These are issues that take time and energy and consistency to fix problems. And look, it's a telltale. Whatever the Democrats push, it's a Band-Aid over a problem they've created and a problem they don't want to be part of fixing. We have wildfires here in the West. And what do you see? You've got Gavin Newsom and our governor. They do these big press conferences about global warming being responsible for fires. No, it's because we don't have forest management. We're not cleaning up the fuel. And that takes money, and that takes energy, and that takes leadership. Instead, they want to blame something that is not going to actually address fires. And so we see this out of them all the time. And all I can say is you've got guys like Ron DeSantis and others that are finally speaking up about individual issues. They're finding ways to go on offense. Our party needs a massive transformation. Yes. It started under Trump. He got it. He understood we need to fight on these issues. We need a lot more people on the field that are representing our party that understand that as well.
Absolutely. Talking with Adam Laxalt, I see that you're leading. I was looking at some new polling. coming out of your state, Suffolk University, Reno Gazette Journal poll taken in April. And I'm looking at RCP average. I mean, you're doing well, but I think that complacency, people will look at that and be like, oh, it's okay. We don't need to do anything. No, that's what they want you to think. So that means that's when you should engage all the more. I'd love to have you back and talk more, because I do think that your race is probably, I think it's like the most important race out there. Nevada is such a, I kind of look at it as a measure of where we're going in terms of Republicans and Democrats, because that state, a lot of people who maybe voted Democrat, unfortunately, in previous elections, they seem to be so disaffected that they can't get to the Republican Party fast enough, which is fascinating. I think that Nevada is a case study for examining the psychology and politics and all of this other stuff. I could talk to you about that a lot, but we're running out of time. Adam Laxalt, where can people find you? Obviously on Twitter, but your website?
AdamLaxalt.com. Super easy. Same for all our socials. And you're right, Dana. We are not a liberal state. And that's the bottom line. People are going to reject these liberal policies, these progressive extreme ideology, and they're going to want change in November.
Amen to that. And congratulations. A new dad again, ×4. Yes. So congrats to you and the family. Thanks so much. Adam Laxalt. You too. Take care.